Well, that's a good start. Somebody asked me a while ago what I was going to deal with, how I was going to be, and I said I'm going to be positively negative.
Like a Democrat.
It's a great honor to me to be here this day. I did miss the one that our friend Mike spoke about, the rain event. I wasn't here that year. I was in Georgia speaking to the Georgia's Division Convention. But I've been here for quite a few years, and it's always, to me, an honor just to be in this place. Thank Herman, well, I don't want to get too many, but let's some of them say Everett Ellis and Jim Cochran for all that they do. And somebody got all of this arranged. Somebody had to work hard to get all this done. And I think that they deserve one, don't y'all? If I get too loud, don't threaten to sue them. Somebody threatened to sue the North Carolina Division one time because of me. They said that I damaged their ear when I hollered. I said, well, I didn't do it intentionally. I hollered because the division commander told me to. But I also said that if you don't want your hearing hurt, don't sit in front of the speakers. With all that said, y'all look great today.
Thank you.
Somebody said, if you weren't the descendant of a Confederate Southern American, what would you be? And I said, ashamed. I'm glad. Jesus was a Southerner. Yes, he was. Now, there's some of y'all out there have heard this. I know them in North Carolina have. But Jesus was indeed a Southerner. Just think about where he was born. Bethlehem of Judea. And Judah was the southernmost tribe. And them Yankees in the north of Israel was all the time fighting against them, remember? So Jesus was a Southerner. And I hope to be able to pay proper tribute to this great man whose statue is behind me. I hope that I have emulated those virtues that he had. He told the truth. He was a truthful man. People don't always like for you to tell them the truth. I told someone a while ago, talking about being positively negative. There are people that don't like the negativity, they say. And I said, okay, we'll take the negative battery cable loose and see what happens when they get ready to go. It takes a balance to get the job done. God knows that. He has do's and he has don'ts. A lot of people like the do's even though they don't do them. And then they don't like the don'ts because they want to do what he said don't do. But I think that what we need to be is honest. Appreciate the heritage that these great people passed down to us. Why honor President Jefferson Davis, the real American president during the time of that war? The real one. I made the statement one time that the Gettysburg Address was a bunch of garbage because it's a lie. What the fellow that made the speech claimed was what the South was fighting for, not what them low-down invading, murdering, raping, looting, burning heathen from the North were fighting for. Why honor him? And I say, why not? He is one of our heroes. We probably know what a hero is, but it's a verb intransitive that means to regard or treat with honor as by due diligence and courtesy, obedience, to bestow honor upon, to elevate in rank or station, to ennoble, to exalt. And I think that this is done by us because we know what this man was all about. I don't even have time to do a drop in the bucket, as the old saying goes, to touch on the life of this great man. But we are here to honor him whose birthday was the 3rd, and this is done as near that date as possible, of course. But the past chaplain-in-chief, Alistair Anderson, quoting from something that he wrote in a speech he gave July 11, 2003. He said, "A hero is one distinguished by extraordinary achievements, one who does brave and noble deeds, exhibits bravery and fortitude, has greatness of soul, is admired and venerated for his achievements, and noble qualities. And finally, one who forms the subject of an epic." And my dear friend Alistair Anderson got that from the Oxford Dictionary. Jefferson Davis was a man that possessed all these qualities and virtues. He was and is at the center of the greatest epic in our country's history, the fight to defend the Southern states' right to be independent. Jefferson Davis was an American statesman, soldier, senator, secretary of war, and president, and I might add, a top-notch example for us all. After the death of John C. Calhoun, Jefferson Davis took up the mantle to oppose the efforts of the northern political tyrants to oppress the southern people. His political savvy and legal and administrative ability made him the South's most prominent statesman after Calhoun's death. I'd like to quote from an 1850 speech by then Senator Jefferson Davis of Mississippi on the floor of the U.S. Senate. It's kind of long, but I think we need to hear it. "If I have a superstition, sir, which governs my mind and holds it captive, it is a superstitious reverence for the Union. If one can inherit a sentiment, I may be said to have inherited this from my revolutionary father. And if education can develop a sentiment in the heart and mind of man, surely mine has been such as would most develop feelings of attachment for the Union. But, sir, I have an allegiance to the state which I represent here." Oh, me! Don't you wish some of them that are supposed to be representing us would do something and say something like that? Yeah. Yes, you do. Amen. Let's hear it for Jefferson Davis. Yeah. I'm going to tell you, those people need to understand what a statesman is, because we don't have any up there now. Mercy. Somebody worries. There's always some limp somebody worries about whether or not you'll get political. Some say too political. What's that got to do with politics? They're like that on both sides of the aisle, as they call it. They're wimps. They're politically correct wimps. Senator Davis went on to say, I trust I shall never find my allegiance there and here in conflict. God forbid that the day should ever come when to be true to my constituents is to be hostile to the Union. It wouldn't have happened if them heathen in the North would have obeyed the Constitution. And we're paying for it today. If, he went on to say, sir, we have reached that hour in the progress of our institutions, it is past the age to which the Union should have lived. If we have got to the point when it is treason to the United States to protect the rights and interests of our constituents, I ask why should they any longer be represented here? Why longer remain a part of the Union? And indeed, that was rather long, but this shows that he was indeed a statesman of great integrity. To him, it wasn't about political expediency. It was about what was right for the people of Mississippi that he represented. Someone in the S.C.V. came to me one time and wanted me to support them for a high office. And I said, I can't do it. Why, Herman, I thought you were my friend. I said, I hope I still am. But if it was my twin brother, and I do have one, if it was my twin brother, I would have to do what I'm doing, because I do what I feel is best for the sons of Confederate veterans, not what I think will ingratiate me by kissing up to somebody and hope that if they get elected, I will get some kind of place because they were elected. I'm not afraid to tell the truth. Amen. I'm not in a popularity contest except with him. Yeah. Because I want to go to heaven.
That's where you belong, brother.
I'm headed that way. You say, when are you going? Whenever he calls. That's good enough for me. All right, moving on. But it's not about political expediency. It shouldn't be in our organizations. But far too many times I've seen that it has been. That's some of that negative stuff people don't like to hear. Would it not be almost scary if some of the politicians would really represent us?
Yes, it would.
Wouldn't it be kind of scary if they would do what the people vote them in to do? Yeah. It would. In June of 2008, I was asked to take part in a symposium on President Jefferson Davis. As I began to research this great man and his work for the South, I felt I needed a thought or a title for it, and I called it a success story. Now, a lot of people would say, it doesn't sound like a success to me. Well, that's because some people ain't got sense enough to know what real success is all about. Success is being true and honest, for one thing. You're welcome. He was successful as a student, as a soldier, as a senator, as a cabinet member, as a president. Just think what he had to do to start, as the old saying goes, from scratch. Like Grandma and Mama used to make biscuits from scratch. And he had to start from scratch. The other already had everything going. He had to start. And he had to try to pull together a bunch of independent-minded people that, well, likes herding cats. I hate with a passion the term lost cause. The cause was not lost. If you use that term and you keep on using it, shame on you. The reason is that the cause was really a principle. And principles don't have funerals. They fought for a cause. They didn't lose the cause. The principle still, it remains true today. Principles are based on God's Word. And they don't change because His Word don't change. They lost the war. H.W. Johnson, a Confederate Georgian and author of The Truth of the War Conspiracy of 1861, wrote, quote, "Principles don't have funerals. We are safe while we keep a sure grip on our principles." I don't have time to go into all that great man did, called Jefferson F. Davis. Don't have time. But when he was the newly elected president of the provisional government in Montgomery, Alabama, he had to be a diplomat, an economist, and a war administrator. He had to organize the government of those folks, like I said, was like herding cats. President Davis did this in spite of the jealous and vindictive opposition of some individuals that should have been helping him. As an aside, is that what too many that are carrying on the fight to honor our great Confederate ancestors have to deal with in our day? Too many want to tell everyone else what to do, how to do the job. I got news for you. It's not about you or me as individuals. It's about our great Confederate ancestors. Yes, it is. It's like I've told people at church through the years. Some people will leave church and whine and say, "I didn't get anything out of it." Well, they got a problem. And it wasn't the pastor, the choir, or something else. It was walking out the door whining and complaining. That was their problem, because if they had gone there to worship God, they would have. And there can't nobody stop us from doing that. It's about Him at church, not me and you. It's about glorifying Him. He's the one that paid the price. Amen. Bringing it down to our ancestors, they're the ones that paid the price. Yes. My grandpa went off and fought them low-down invading, murdering, raping, looting, burning heathen because he knew what he was fighting for. Mercy. I ain't got, when we got to quit, by 12? I'm going to tell you, I don't mind offending people. I don't do it to offend them. But the truth offends people that are walking contrary to it, that are not willing to accept it. Somebody said one time, "Well, you were a preacher." Like I didn't know it. You were a preacher, and you're not supposed to offend people. Jesus didn't. I said, that's the biggest lie ever told.
That's true.
I said, they dogged him everywhere he went, bad-mouthing him. And them that knew the scriptures still done it.
Yep.
Oh, yes, they did. Like I said one time about the professor of history emeritus at Duke University. In a letter to the editor, I said he sees the same thing I do doing research. But he's got an agenda, and he don't want the truth to be told, so he's not going to tell the truth. He's going to put his version of it. That's not truth. They may put a little truth in it, but like the Bible said about somebody preaching a message with a mixture of truth and falsehoods, a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. In other words, the whole message becomes false. It does. It's in the book. But you see, the thing of it is, they don't want the truth told. And they dogged Jesus till they got him on the cross. He offended them. Why? By telling them the truth. He quoted from the scriptures that they knew. They'd been schooled in them all their lives. They knew them. And there are people that have been schooled and schooled and schooled about the history of this country. And they know better, and they'll still write lies. That's what we have to contend with. You say, well, we might as well give up. I ain't gonna do it. I know it ain't good English, but I hope Miss Hanner's up there and my English teacher in high school didn't hear that. But you see, the thing of it is, we have got to keep fighting. Look how dark it was in 1864, late and early 1865. But they kept fighting, didn't they? They kept fighting. I believe they'd have fought until there wasn't any left. Because they knew what they were fighting for and about. And I'm telling you, we need to understand that we need to fight. Whether they'll accept it or not, we need to do it. We all are not qualified